Hi, I'm Jazz and I'm an alcoholic and I'm codependent. I work a 12-step program and I seek health. I'm a seeker and a traveler in my journey. As I've said in some other videos, one of my sons is autistic. So since I got him diagnosed before the age of 3. And so I've been working with professionals and he's been involved in therapy ever since, just after he got his designation. And for some reason, I didn't think ill of autism. If anything, I find it quite interesting. And, my son never talked until I'd say maybe by the age of 3, he started talking. And because he was my firstborn, he was born and he was a really good baby and he was quiet and he slept all the time. And I was like, what are people talking about? Like, it's so easy to have babies and have a baby. And he was sleeping through the night so quick. And so he was like a dream baby. He was small. Everything was just great. And then it wasn't till my second son was born, and then I was like, oh, this is like a real baby. It's okay, this is like real baby time. So, and then I started he didn't sleep as much, and he needed more things, and he was more gassy, and he needed more cuddles and was affectionate and looked at me, and all these little things that were different I was seeing in contrast to my other son. And then I was kind of like, this seems a little bit different. And so I was wondering and I was questioning what this was all about. And he was very good. I thought it was cute, but he was very good at mimicking sounds, and he would mimic sounds for everything and be really good at it. And he could hear things really far away, almost like a dog. And so it was just like he had this like outer sense of things out way far away. So I didn't know it was autism at the beginning, but I was picking up on these different things that were happening, noticing that he just was sensitive to certain things and very good at imitating, and then I didn't know that not talking was a sign of autism because he was my first. So and then I think when he was around 2-ish, it was 2020 back then, and I was in not a very good relationship. And I think that was another reason that hindered him from not wanting to talk and was too scared to talk. And like it was just not a very good, it wasn't a very safe home life. And so, after the other person had left the home, my son started trying to talk more. It seemed like the air was cleared. And so, but he's 2.5 and now he's trying some words and stuff. So I didn't know for sure if it was autism or what was happening at the home. But anyways, good sign, good news. He starts learning to talk. And then I have the one in, my other son just up behind him. So now they're both kind of starting to do use their language, learn language. And I went and got his designation because I wanted him. They said that between the ages of, I think up to the age of 5 or so, or is such a crucial time for development. And I thought then I should get him in there. And so I got him into therapy at quite a young age and got him on the list because it takes year or 2 years probably now, but back then it was a year waiting list. So I got him on. They said, yes, he has it. Yes, he is it. Something that you did. There's, because immediately as a mom, it feels like it's my fault. Like it feels like it's my fault that my kid has autism. I don't know why, but I don't feel like that now, but I did feel like that. Even when they say that it's not that, it still feels like that. It still feels like there's something I did somewhere. But anyways, they say they don't know where it comes from. They don't know, don't worry. And just, this is what you do. And so got onto the autism funding and got them all hooked up and did intensive, not intensive, but I can't think of the word. But we went to therapy probably the first year was like three times a week, and then I had to switch companies, and I just didn't like I didn't find that there was enough progress, and it just seemed like it was like always someone's first day. Like it was just one young new girl after another, and it was like we could never get to like this stuff that we really had to work on because we were always just introducing people. And so I'd had enough of that, and I moved on to another company, and they were way better, but they were only 2 days a week, but it still worked because the quality was there. And the beautiful thing that I loved about this company was she was very into getting as many people on board around my son as possible. And mainly, I think what really helps my son is having me on board, like as the primary caregiver. I really changed so much about myself with my own behaviors. Like using the word don't barely comes into my vocabulary anymore, but it took a long time to break that habit because I was raised with the language of don't touch that, don't do this, don't, no. And I've really learned how to put the tool in the kid's hand, like redirect. And then what does he need? Like, what does my son need to learn how to do this thing instead of everything being don't do. And then the child has to figure out the one thing that it can do without having no idea the one thing that it can do. So it took so much work to not say the word don't at all anymore is really hard to do. It's such a bad habit in my brain. It's still sometimes I slip up on it, but I try to correct it when I can. If I can catch it, I try to correct it because I know that the word don't do this doesn't do anything. So when don't throw your jacket in the living room just like that. It's like I instruct as much as I can. Like if he does that, throws it everywhere, I'm like, blah, 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 like on the hook, like, shoes by the door, not don't throw your shoes over there in a mess. It's where do I want those shoes to be? Where do I want that jacket to be? When they're screaming, what do I want them to do? Inside voices, quiet in the house, or you can go back outside. Like everything I say to them is an instruction, and I have a really good connection with my kids. So I believe they trust me, and because I've become a more regulated and safe person. I wasn't as safe in my early recovery for how much I was in reaction. I was a reactionary. So I've calmed down a lot. Like I grow with my kids though. Like I'm allowed to grow with my kids. That's what I'm doing. And everything is an instruction. So by constantly, I know that the explaining doesn't work because I did it for so long and they never got it. But what I have actually done that I've seen work in my house is just really trying to be it. Like really trying to be it, and I am seeing those things come through more than any conversation I've ever had with them about how they should be and how they should behave. But they watch more than listen. So, and then when I just give them that quick instruction in the moment, I find that's a lot easier for them to grab, and because they are always in the moment and they don't think beyond that moment, and they're so literal. So, I'm kind of talking for all my kids right now, but I've become like a home BI. I've become I've picked up all the tools that the girls have taught, and I do all the tools that the girls have taught. So, it's so similar with like some of my recovery work. Is like a lot of the stuff they do is the meltdowns happen and the dysregulation happens, and it's mostly letting my child feel the feeling and then asking them to identify their feeling. Like it's just so similar to like adult, like being an adult trying to change my own behaviors as well. It's like, feel the feeling. What do I do now? So, and choosing a response. But with my son, it's the lid comes off when there's no regulation. So there's nothing to do with my child if he's dysregulated. There's no way to break through there. So it's almost like I help and find ways to regulate him. And that could be like, let's take a break, let's sit down, let's hold hands. Like, we do the finger thing, go through the hand. Sometimes just like physical, like hand rubbing, like whatever it takes to like take all this and all this like stirring and just to chill out. And then, chill out and then maybe ask a simple question about feelings, and then move on to something else. But when they're all up in a haste and they're having a meltdown, it's like, I don't want to dismiss my kids' feelings, because then they'll dismiss themselves. And then B, in order to have any kind of instruction that works, they cannot be in they can't be in a meltdown. So, but the meltdowns have to happen because they have to learn to have emotions, and that they're allowed to be emotional, because these emotions tell me what to do with my soul and how to, it's a very authentic place. If I always ignore that, being an addict and having ended up in those situations, it doesn't work. So I'm recovering from that. So my son is starting, when he does get too upset, he's able to actually walk himself to his room or scream in a pillow. I just redirect to something else. Like if he is really angry, he can be angry. It's just like, can he be angry in a safe place that's not going to hurt himself or hurt anyone else? And if and to keep him from hitting or hurting, just to push that, to move that energy somewhere safe and I just constantly teach that every time. And everything I teach my autistics on, I pretty much teach my other children. So it's just the household is in this flow, and then at school it's in that flow, and then when the autism sessions happen, it's all of that extra exposure there. So there's so much exposure to the same structure that his development, like he gets the freedom to be in swimming lessons. He gets the freedom to be in class. And, he's not always separated all the time. He's not left out of things all the time. And having all that having all that therapy gives him the ability to be able to be in all of these things. My son does not have that social awareness, those social cues. He can't pick up on things. Like, he has empathy and he has feelings, but he doesn't have knowledge for what the social cues are. So, and he's very extreme. He's like a mini narcissist. Like, I hate to say that, but like, they're so focused on just what they want to do all the time that it feels like that he doesn't love me, and he doesn't notice me, and he doesn't care about me. So it feels like I have a distant child sometimes. Like, so he doesn't pick up on the cues, but every once in a while there's like a little love shows through, or a thoughtful act comes through, but it's not often. And I can't make him be that. He isn't that. Like, that's just not how he is. And I understand that because I understand autism in my child, because it's a spectrum. So the thing that scares me the most about the social stuff is what's going to happen, when he gets older, and the bullying. And, he'll try to be cool to fit in, but he won't realize what he's doing could be bad or wrong. So other people can be around him and influence him or get him to do things, and he doesn't know if it's wrong or bad or not. So it puts him at risk, and then it puts whatever else is happening. Just adds so much risk. And I think that's that's definitely a huge fear of mine. But it pushes people in a way. He is more expressive because he doesn't pick up on the social stuff. So he can be really funny and have outbursts because he's not worried about what people think, because he has this veil that doesn't connect him with that social language isn't there. So in some ways it makes him quite exciting and, out there, but in other ways it really makes him vulnerable to getting bullied or hurt, or to be told to do something that he shouldn't do, because like there's just such a danger there because of that. Like, he can't see. It's almost like he can't see the danger in things, and he doesn't have that. He doesn't really have any hypervigilance. He doesn't have that awareness, capability of that awareness. So, and physical awareness. Like, he's always walking around with his head spinning around, and he's like all over the place, and he's constantly bumping into things and getting hurt because he's such a sensory seeking child, because he finds so much comfort in movement and doing things, and when he's he gets really hyper focused on stuff. Like, so he has a superpower, but he also has so much unawareness and a lack of that social ability to connect with people, and he's difficult, so it makes it hard to get close and connect. So there's like so much going on, and I'm so grateful just to have gotten on board with learning how to change for him. I think is the greatest gift I could give him and my own self for just parenting and conserving some of my own energy, because it's just, if I'm trying to make him do something that I wouldn't do, it's just going to take, okay, I already have the autism thing, and now it's just going to add some stress onto that. Add some stress on top of a stressful situation, and then, so I'm being a different way, and then I'm expecting my child to be a better way, but I'm not being a better way. Like, I found so much help. I found that it helps my child more when I'm better, so that they can see better. But I had to really cut out a lot of conversations that don't matter, because I noticed they don't really learn in that conversation mode. And to get out of a place of, I don't want to be, get it. The thing is too, is with a lot of the sessions that I was involved in, is they really try to move away from harsh consequences. If you don't do this, I'm going to take this away, and you're not going to have this again, and you're never going to have that, and you're, like, because it makes it so extreme that they can't make mistakes. And then it's like, I need him to make mistakes because that's how he's going to learn. He needs to learn. So having these like really heavy, only having consequences and punishment is going to make him, it's going to add that failure system, and it's going to be an unsafe place to learn. And I find just with having an autistic child, he's making, I would say, he's doing 10 more infractions more than my neurotypical child. So it's almost like his workload is so much higher. So there's going to be so much more extra parenting. And if I'm just constantly like giving him consequences because he isn't fitting in the mold that I want him to fit in that mold, because I'm inconvenienced at that time, then I'm going to really increase his self-shame. And why should he be shamed for being a little child like that was born and has autism? Like, he's born and has autism. That's no one on earth has nothing to do with anyone on earth. That's just the way it came. That's the way he came. And so it's just like, I really added that up, that like, I got to get out of doing things that are all about that consequence and fear-based direction. And I move into like encouraging positivity, showing an example. Guess what? That makes it so much harder for me as a parent, is that I'm inconvenienced. And now I have to do the work instead of make my kid do the work. I have to do the work. So I feel like that's where my responsibility as a parent is, for my autistic child, is to do the work. It's more effective work for him. And so he is being influenced by, it really ties in with the whole gentle parenting thing. It's like gentle parenting, like, I mean, I try to do that, but it's like extreme amount of work to keep my stuff together for my kid. But it's more effective for him, like long term. He's getting like major tools and structure that he's going to need for the rest of his life. Because I hope that one day he can move out. I hope that one day he can be independent. I hope that he doesn't become an older, if he's an older adult and he's not regulated because he doesn't have the ability to practice anything because he's always dysregulated. Well, now I'm going to have this giant man that's autistic and dysregulated and doesn't know anything. Like right now, my kid is like a little puppy that it's a lot easier to help get him the things he needs now than when he's way older. And he gets to have the life now. He gets to have a better chance at having a life than if he's all over the place, but a grown up now. So this is like pain now for long-term gain. Like, it's super painful now, and I have to do everything to stay cool, and sometimes I don't, but I apologize. But like, it's a lot of work as the caregiver to really invest in changing. Like, I have really, it's been a huge change for me to change and adapt to give to my kid. And so it's painful now. I know that it will pay off, but I just consistently do all those little things. Like, I don't grab anything from kid. I don't make them feel bad first off. I don't say, hey, look what you did. Like, I don't focus on the negatives that they do. I give all my attention to the positive. When there's a negative thing happening, I'm quiet. I ignore it. I go blank. I don't don't ignore it to create distance. I just ignore the thing they did, but I don't ignore the kid. Like, I ignore the thing and I don't give any of that endorphin hit. And I just, when they do the thing that I did, I really exaggerate on that good thing that they did. And then that spikes something in the brain. Because kids go back. They go back to where those endorphins are. But they also get major endorphin hits when I'm freaking out because of something they did that I didn't like. So like when I'm lashing out in rage or when I'm angry and I'm just constantly angry, they're still getting an endorphin hit. And so like they still need those endorphins going. So it's better if they're getting it, if I'm having a positive response than if I'm having like a really negative reaction to them because I'm so mad. Because I'm so inconvenienced and I'm so pissed off, like, like, so, and I'm just being this like angry person all the time. So I've had to like completely change who I am in a way to adapt to my son and his needs. But he's getting a chance at a life now, and he's getting tools because he's in that space of being able to learn and then being given the tool each time, like especially with like some of the language in the house, like, he'll just say short phrases like, I'm done. Like if he's in the bathroom, it's like, I gotta teach him, like, can you please come help me, Mom? Like, I'm done in the bathroom. Like, and what I would do is uphold my boundaries is like, I repeat the thing I want him to say, and then I don't go over there until it's said. And I gently say it. Like, can you please come help me, Mom? Like, I just say that over and over again. Like, they pretty much know that until they can copy, sometimes there's a meltdown. But I mean, most of the time, it's like, until they try to grab that tool themselves, I don't go over there unless they do it, and I don't get mad and I don't change my mind and I don't go back on what I said each time because that's confusing for kids. I give them the tool, and I find that it's like they're learning all the time, and then they're seeing the positivity all the time and the encouraging, and so they're in a safe place all the time. So it's like I'm adding all of these good things, even though it's a hard thing. I keep bringing in the good, and then that's what they can copy. So as much as I can show and be and give to them is the best way that we're going to battle this autism stuff so that he can really grow and everyone can grow. And so it's constant. Like, it's rarely an easy day, all the way up to bedtime. Like I deal with lots of repeating. I deal with sensory issues before bed. There's so much movement going on. Like sometimes you just get sick about it. But I understand that he's not doing these things on purpose to me, but it took me a while. I thought it feels like he's doing it on purpose. Like that's the thing that I think makes him a vulnerable person, is that it feels like he's intentionally doing these things, but it's just compulsively coming out all the time. Like I have to give those instructions all the time because his impulsiveness he is just like reacting to everything all the time. Like he is in an extreme mode all the time, pretty much. And it's like he's always itchy, like not physically itchy, but it's like everything about the world bothers him. So he's like super bothered child. And so it can be kind of daunting to be around that sometimes because it's like they're never happy. And then you want to be like, can't you ever be happy? Can't you ever be grateful? Can't you ever just sit still? Like I got to be careful because it's really easy to start attacking my son, but it's not him. It's just those are impulsive behaviors that just repeat. They repeat until maybe one day they're managed and he can manage them down the road. It's not like he's going to get cured. It's just that he's going to learn how to maybe behave in a more functional way in the world and have some independence. And it's not going to be a perfect score. We're not going to get there. We're just going to get to be able to handle better in our daily lives. And so I've gotten a lot of, because I just have a bit more understanding in how he operates and really working and learning and living this stuff with him, it does give me compassion in the fact that when he's repeating or when he's, saying things over and over and over, like making sounds over and over and over, like I'm getting exhausted from hearing it, I just understand, like, he's regulating, he's calming himself. He's doing this for a reason. Like, everything he's doing is coming from some internal reason to do it. And it's not on purpose. Like, he's not doing things to make me upset. He's not doing things to be bad and to be, it's just happening all the time. So I'm called to redirect all the time and then be teaching. So I've had to really, really take care of myself and really take care of my own emotions, and then help with co-regulating and teaching his emotions, and then making sure other people have their emotions in the house, right? So that we also don't have only one person having emotions and then everybody else is getting emotionally neglected. So it's like a massive amount of balancing happening, and consciously trying to be aware of what's happening with everyone and trying to really balance things out for everybody in the house. But it's, I'm grateful that he has siblings to help with this. And there's an extreme amount of, he's very creative, very talkative, talks all the time, talks all the way through shows. Like, it's hard. My heart is always my heart is stressed out a lot because I'm always worried he's going to get hurt. So I love that I have an autistic son, because I also love all of the things that I've learned from all of the interventions over the years. And I don't even know where we would be without intervention. I think, he would have a lot less opportunity without that professional intervention and to teach me. Like, I've gotten really on board with this stuff, and I don't feel shame because my kid is different. And I think because I don't have that really opens the door for me to be able to help him. And he needs me to help him and show up for him. So that I try to live my life to be able to help him as much as I can, and the rest of my kids. But it's a constant learning battle with, physical boundaries and what's appropriate, and yeah, it's just something I'm always working on and learning from. And he is relentless with negotiating and trying to push his way, and we are constantly breaking up his changing what he wants to do all the time. It's like I'm always putting him in another uncomfortable situation to get him so good at those transitions. Like, the transitioning from stuff like tasks to the different places in town or school or wherever, like, there's such a heightened amount of energy and stress and emotion that happens with transitioning. And so it's almost with everything. So it gets exhausting to be going from here to there, but then have this big blow up happen, have a meltdown happen, have this thing go wrong. And then they're hung up on the thing that went wrong, or that they didn't get their thing. Like, and then they create, he creates rituals. Like, instead of just going to get the shoes on, he has to move the pillow, and then he has to, I got to go check on a thing. And then he's got to find his other Lego piece that he was playing with. And he'll just create that little routine right before we have to do something. And then it's like, now I got to like break him out of the routine of that he wants to do something, like that he just, like, it's time to go get the shoes on. Well, he's just decided it's time to go find the Lego and his favorite shirt and, something else. And then it's just like, what the heck are you doing? Like, so it's, he doesn't know what he's doing. It's just like his brain goes to that, like unintentionally, it just goes to that because that's just the way his brain is made. And so it's hard to keep him on task. It's hard to it's so constant that, it's hard to move him to let's go eat now, okay, let's put your bowl in the sink. Like, and I've been doing this with him since he was, 2.5, and all the extra running around town and getting him involved in all the extra things that autistic kids need, and working on speech. And so I find it's just really improved my parenting and made me so much more self-aware of things. But I appreciate that it's not a shame or fear-based program. And I think that having as much positive influence around him is so great. And he is doing so well with school, and he's doing so well with his peers, and it's really does pay off. Like, it pays off, and I am excited for him, for his future. Like, it is less daunting now after the years of work have gone by, and I'm witnessing this stuff happening. It's changing him for the better. Like, he's able to do things. Like, there's still a lot of push, but he is growing and managing and learning stuff because he has a safe environment. He has positive, safe influences, and the whole team is around him. Like, I really appreciate just the team of it all. And then I think I was told that a lot of parents don't get on board from some of the other autism companies, and the one I work with, like, they say it's the parents. The parents don't get involved. The parents don't. They just say do the thing in this session, and like, I found it's less of an impact. So if I was just to put my kid in just the sessions and not be a part of it at all, I think he would get like all this. Like, I think he would get maybe like 15 to 20% of the learning compared to if I'm involved, because I'm with him a lot and then he goes home with me. So I just think like if I wasn't involved, I think I play almost like a 50% role or more in his influence. And then having the school really involved with his care has made a huge difference. So it takes a very aware village to be around him, but I just see so much good has come from that. So if I could help anyone with that message or inspire anyone, it is just, it had to change from the top. Like, I had to change. I had to get on board. It really sucked for me, but it is paying off, and it really pays off for my kid too. So that is just a bit more on autism and what I do in the home, and really trying to give my son the things that he needs, and redirecting and staying positive, not shaming. And, teaching him how to speak, because he'll just say something really rude and I just repeat I repeat the polite thing back until he says it. And almost all the time he rings it back. So it's like it's coming, and sometimes it comes back in like a, can you please, whatever, like not with a lot of enthusiasm, but he did the hard thing. It's like pushing him through that hard thing all the time, because pretty much just existing is hard for him. Just having to get out of bed is hard. Having to put the night diaper in the garbage is hard. Like any task at all is a no, and he doesn't want to do it. And then he'll create a something to do before he does that. And I'm like constantly breaking that up as well. So yeah, anyways, I might do another one of these on autism, but it's just such a interesting topic to me. And this is what I've been doing to work on it, and what I've seen work from working on it. So thanks.